I said, good evening, everybody. Oh, man. All right. Amen, Harrison. I heard that. Amen, Harrison. Hey, Harrison. Harrison. Harrison, wave, wave. Say hi. Hi, buddy. He doesn't like what? Me either. That's something else he and I have in common. Neither of us like me. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here tonight. Thank you for those of you who prayed for us while we were gone. I'm going to invite the team to come up and join me. That's why we have the extra chairs. I want you to hear about this trip, from their points of view. There's going to be a lot of pictures we're going to throw up on the wall for you, and we'll explain those as we go. So all these photographs that you're going to see were taken by these guys. So find yourself a place to sit. I don't smell Kyle. It's okay. But Terry, where's Terry? Come on. Somebody's lagging behind.
Again?
Yeah. Any day now. These are the last days. Yeah, we knew that. It's coming. All right, so we'll have a word of prayer. Terry, by the way, is wearing a T-shirt with the Albanian flag on it. And if you've never seen the Albanian flag and wonder why it's so Gothic looking and has two eagle heads, they're famous. The hero of the country of Albania is a man whose name was changed to Skenderbeg. He was born George. He was the king's son, the youngest of four sons of the king of Albania. When the Ottoman Empire rose up, he made a deal with the Sultan of whatever he was, and said, listen, I'll let my boys fight for you in your army, and you can use them so long as you return them to me when you're done, and that you do not try to change their faith, because they're Christians. Because Albania, before it was called Albania, it was called Illyricum, and it was evangelized by the Apostle Paul and others, and it was a Christian nation until Islam was forced upon it. But Skenderbeg was the youngest of the four sons. He was taken by the Ottoman Empire. He was trained in the ways of the Ottoman Empire, and his name was changed from George to Skenderbeg, and he was taught or trained to be a Muslim, which he rejected. He saw all the things, all the lies of the Islamic Ottoman Empire, and he went back home, united the northern half of Albania together with the southern half of Albania, hence the two eagles' heads, into one nation, and they put up a good fight and defended themselves against the Ottoman Empire. So he's a hero of Albania. So that's what the flag's all about. So let's have a word of prayer, and then I'll put some pictures up, and we'll share our... by the way, this will be more interactive, so if you have questions, we want you to understand what's going on over there, so you can be in prayer for them and pray about maybe going over one day. So, Lord, we just do ask, even though we're so far away from Albania right now, part of our hearts have been left there. We're thinking right now about all the people we met and the things that we were able to do. More importantly, the things that you're doing over there and in the lives of those people and spreading the gospel. So it's our desire, Lord, that you would bless them. And even the time that we spend now talking about what we saw in this last trip and reliving these things, we're doing it in a way to glorify you and to say this is what our God is doing. But we certainly lift our prayers up for them. And in these days, with all that's going on in the world, we just lift them up to you, that they would be a light in this world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So I think I just need to click on that, and there you go. So I'm going to start by explaining. There's going to be 4 different properties that you're going to see. There's 4 different properties that Pastor Plator oversees because he has multiple different ministries. 4 properties, I should say, that they have ownership of. There's additional properties that they rent in Muslim villages and that they're teaching children Christianity in those Muslim villages. Parents are sending their kids to them to be taught Christianity because of how much these kids are being blessed by their ministry. The church you see in the background there, that is the biggest of his properties in terms of the sheer size of the building and property. That is the church in Libonique. And everything sort of flows from that church. He has another church in Molich, which we may or may not have. We do have some pictures from there, yeah. So you'll see some pictures from Molich also. Molich is right up the road from Libonique. Molich is up against the foothills of some mountains, and the word Molich, literally translated in English, means the bad people from the mountains, or the evil people from the mountains. When my cousin first went over there in the early 90s after communism fell, he went over there on a mission trip with his church from North Jersey, and he was nearly stoned to death, and he ran away from a crowd in Molich, and they hid out in a theater, and they managed to find a phone that was working in the theater, and they called Pastor Plator to come rescue them, who was a young man at the time. And he yelled at all the people who were throwing rocks at them. But they were, today, if you walk up and down the streets of Libonique and Molich, and people know that you're there with Plator, the pastor of the community, you're royalty in those two towns. He's very well loved. So now, the first time I ever saw this building, it was sort of a gold or orange color. It was really looking horrible and run down. This beautiful stone wall wasn't there, and even that driveway and the gate, none of that was there. So while we were there, we got to actually finish the landscape out front. There's now a baptismal tank that you're going to see out in front, and it's all beautifully landscaped. We got to pay for that and see it get done while we were there. I told Mark O'Connell how much it cost. Tom, you're in here tonight. Tom, wait till you see the landscaping. We put in 2 trees. How many bushes would you say? But no, bushes. There were many more bushes. A lot more than that. There's 20 bushes and all kinds of plants too. So all together, 35 plants. And they had to fill all the flower beds with soil. And all together the bill was $425 with labor.
And they're not buying plants.
Yeah, right. The place is beautiful. So the place is beautiful, and the pictures you're going to see next are also from the inside of Libonique. So I'm going to tell you what things we did while we were there, and then the team will really define that much more as you go through the pictures. There's children's ministry happening every weekday in these churches. So in Libonique, in the day center, not so much in Molich, but in those 2 places. And the team was able to do something. And by the way, I could not have been prouder of these guys. They worked very hard. I'm so thankful I had them with me. But they were able to go be part of those children's ministries, which I never get to do. I'm in there for 5-10 minutes, and Plator says, okay, we're going on to the next thing. And I go with him to the next thing. But these guys got to really spend time with the workers who really do the training every day. So before I go to the first slide, also we did 4 days of discipleship and training in the book of Revelation. And I taught chapters 1 through 15 in 4 days, 4 hour to hour and a half sessions. And it blows me away. They were so attentive. They were so interested.
And
awake, unlike me. I'm still very jet lagged. Are you jet lagged? I'm so messed up, more so than normal. So in case you were wondering what I meant by that, but they said no one has ever taught us the book of Revelation ever before. They've never heard anyone teach the book of Revelation. So we got to lay a foundation for them. So as they study the book of Revelation, and could there be a more important time in the world than now to understand the basic principles of the book of Revelation? So I got to tell you, it was awesome. So now I'm going to basically turn it over to you guys to share, and I'll jump in here and there. But Libonique Church, the first picture I'm going to throw up there is you're looking at, obviously, Rezi and one of the worship team leaders and the kids raising hands. So somebody jump in.
That's Leo.
So which I thought was pretty awesome, daily services for the kids in the summer. Huh? Right? Here it's like, how many can we get on a Sunday? And this is 40 to 50 kids. Some towards the beginning of school, the week we were there, but that came daily. Most of them came directly from the day center, and the day center would bring them to the service, but it also had kids from the town who weren't necessarily in the day center, and then kids who were in the residence center as well, which you'll see pictures of. Just a few stats that I have on these kids, just so you can kind of get an understanding of who these kids are. So this is a message I sent to our Oasis group chat, 10:30 or 11 p.m. Here, 5 a.m. there. Just about some of the things going on. So it's 5 a.m. in Albania, and I haven't slept because all I can think about is how terrible life that these kids have. 12% of children in Albania have to work underage to help their families. Children in this area harvest medicinal herbs, fruits, and from the mountains alone in the summertime. One of the plants they harvest and dried, elderberries, that are exported to the U.S. And we all know how much elderberries go for in the U.S. About 50% of the children in the area are gypsy and will be assigned to be married by 12 or 13. And a fair amount of them will have children a few years after that. One of the boys in the residence hall, Aldo, saw his, and this is a little graphic, I apologize, saw his father shoot his mother and his brother. His brother survived, his mother died, and he saw his father chop up her body. Again, sorry for graphic, but...
If I could just jump in a second. So the residential home is a building that they acquired some years ago, unfinished. The man who had borrowed a bunch of money to buy this building and build this building went belly up, couldn't finish the project. So they managed to buy this building at a fraction of what it was worth. They then put a bunch of money, raised a bunch of money to finish the building. It is now a home where they can house up to 7 boys. And these are boys who, they are wards of the state. So the state decides that they need to have some care. He just mentioned Aldo. The one that always grips my heart is Thomas. Yeah. When Thomas was found by the government, his mother was chaining him up like a dog and force feeding him tranquilizers so that she could bring Johns home to have sex with them and make money. So he has right now 5 boys in the residential home. He is required to have at least 1 psychologist on staff full-time there. There has to be 2 adults on the premises at all times. So he has a rotation of 6 women that work there. And there's actually 2 psychology degrees. Rezi, who I showed you before, she is... she's in the blue dress with her hands up. I would consider her probably one of the main people in his leadership. She is an inspiration to watch her work. She has a tremendous influence on the young people that serve in that ministry. There's a couple dozen young people in their 20s, right? Yeah. In their 20s that enthusiastically do whatever needs to be done. They work really hard. Some of them get paid maybe $150 a month. One of the things that we try to do is help supply money so that these young people can get paid. An average salary over there might be somewhere around $300 a month. So just to give you an idea. But these people are just wonderful people. And the kids, so the residential home that he was talking about, the kids, they mix in with the day center kids, and they mix in with the kids in Libonique. And Rezi brings the boys from the residential home to Libonique Church, and they participate in all these classes. You guys have anything more to say on Libonique?
Yeah, so just 2 of the kids at the residence center, they were able to talk to me directly about where they go work and what they do. So I've got those stories here. So Bessa, who you saw in one of the other previous pictures, she was my buddy. You know, the Lord sometimes puts a kid in your hindsight, right in your sight right away. And this is the kid that the Lord put on his sight, so right away. So still, little stupid things like little bracelet she maybe I'm still wearing. It's hard to see it, but there's other pictures you'll be able to see who she is. But she's 11, and she goes into the mountains sometimes by herself with a horse to pick medicinal herbs and berries from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Every day in the summer.
And it's a far trek.
And it can be an hour and plus to get from where they are, because where she is in more of a valley. So
Bessie's the girl there in the
so
gold.
she's in the shiny gold shirt. That's my buddy Bessa. So she picks herbs and elderberries from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Not only picks them, but dries them also. She does the whole process. She gets paid $2 a day, and said herself, and this is, knowing full well where they're going and what they're being used for here, this is the tough part for me. It's her saying herself that the people who make her pick them don't pay her enough. And also saying she's happy to do this work, it's her profession. So the other boy that we talked to is Alexio, excuse me. He's 8, and he goes to pick herbs in a very similar area that Bessa does with his 13-year-old brother. He does 4 hours a day and makes 80 cents a day. Those are two of what I was told about 12 kids who you see here that do that work. So it gives you a kind of a concept of a little bit of a concept of the situation.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
By all means.
What is the elderberries? I'm not really familiar with what they're worth here in America.
Yeah.
So,
So if you were to basically take the product that they're doing, the elderberry, dry it down and sell it here as is, all I did was search on Amazon elderberries Albania, and they go for so she's supposed to bring in 1 kilo's worth, so about 2.2 pounds a day. 1 pound goes for $25 here.
Unbelievable.
not exactly
Fair.
lucrative or fair.
No.
It is not a fair trade situation. No. That was a lot of the conversation that we were discussing.
So basically, and that's if you just take the straight berry. That's not it being processed into medicinal things. Even that, yeah. So syrup, yeah. As I know from my industry, topical creams and things like that. So, and those go for upwards of ridiculous amounts of money once the product's processed. So certainly more than somebody getting paid 20 cents an hour.
Yeah. They also have church services, obviously, there every Sunday morning. That is Sunday morning. That's Pastor Michael Durante, who's also guest spoke here. He lives in Garfield, New Jersey. He pastors an Albanian congregation in, I forget the name, was it right nearby Garfield? There's an Albanian congregation that he's the pastor of. They meet in a Presbyterian church, small congregation. They were there the week before we were there. They left the day we arrived. They were just finishing up their mission trip. And the purpose of their mission trip was a lot of their relatives still live in the Corcha area. And so they came to visit family and to talk to them about their faith in Jesus. So Pastor Michael was the one who was giving the message on Sunday. We move on to the seminar. This was us doing 4 days in a row of the book of Revelation. The young girl you see there translating for me, her name is Christina.
God bless her for translating both of us. Yeah.
That's the Albanian version of Christina. This girl is another amazing young lady who is so incredibly smart. She speaks very good English, translates very well. I think she has a master's degree, actually. And she is probably one of the hinge pins also in the ministry where everything revolves. She takes care of a lot of financial stuff. It's just amazing. Here's Plator translating for me on another day. It was overwhelming, though, the response that we got from...
He's mad at you and you're yelling at him.
Well, that's normal.
That happens, yeah.
Albanians are mad all the time. So here's some of the leadership of the children's ministries here. This is also taken at the Libonique Church. You guys remember who we're looking at here? You want to share?
It's Resi, me,
Dita.
Dita's the little one, and Clara's the one in black, and then Plator.
So
Resi.
Dita and Clara are in the day center. Dita does all the cooking for the 30-plus kids every day, lunch, happily. Talk about serving, and you better eat when the food's ready. I'll just say that. 'Cause
Dita's a tough girl. She's like their Terry over there. She's
yeah, I was in the middle of teaching the kids a game there, and I told her I'd be in to get the food in a second. And after I was done teaching, I came in and I saw this look like you didn't come in to eat your food. And apologized the best I could before I ate it, and it was amazing, of course.
Yeah. Well, everything they make over there, they make with stuff that they grow. So it's everything's fresh. It's
No
amazing.
processed foods. Let me tell you something. It reminded me of Israel.
Israel.
Everything was so fresh and just delicious.
Yeah. You want to say something?
Regional specialties or anything?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and we had everyone.
Kernachka. We all love Kernachka, which is like a actually a specialty of the Korcha region where we were. It looks like a sausage, but it's like a sausage. And it's
Without the casing.
yeah, without the casing, and it's a meat product, but it's very spicy and it has a nice bite to it. So we had plenty of Kernachka and some of the other dishes as well.
The intestine dish that
We told
told me not to order
Resi
that I did.
It was
as John would call her, she's the glue that holds things together. And we told Resi one day, we were walking down the street with her, and we told Resi, John talks about how much work you do, and that when he says your name, we hear, oh.
Yeah, and actually here's Rezi presenting a cake for us at the end.
And you can't see it
The-
in this picture, but underneath it's written in English, thank you for your support, meaning this body's, thank you for your support.
Yeah, so that's to you guys, really. And we were surrounded. They made a
We
big
got to eat the cake, but it was to you guys. And it was good.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You enjoyed it, believe me.
I left some for you guys, but they ate it, so sorry. But you see in the background, there was actually, they all formed a circle. We didn't know what they were going to do. We showed up. Plator said, listen, they want us to come to the church. They have something they want to do for you guys. So all the leadership gathered in a big circle, and that was their sending off and thank you. They bought us little gifts, and they're just incredibly sweet people,
And
really.
we sang Oceans.
Yep.
They sang it on
They sang it.
Of course, we sang
You sang it in English.
Or American. And it was,
Our best version of English. Whatever.
Yeah.
it was so moving, it really was.
So one of the other things we got to do while we were there that I was really looking forward to. Now you might remember that I came over, John and I came home from being there in March, and an opportunity was dropped in our lap to help 4 brothers. You guys remember this house? And I'll just give you a refresher. Here's some pictures of that house before it was fixed. And that's actually in the middle of the construction project. So in March, I came home, and I shared this vision with you guys that, hey, these boys, this house is in shambles. Only the older brothers living there. It's not even a livable situation. The 2 younger brothers are being forced to live with an imam. They wake them up at 3 o'clock in the morning for Muslim prayers. They're trying to indoctrinate these little boys. And
they
the restaurant
absolutely hate
owner asked us, John and I and Plator, could you guys help? And I guess the Holy Spirit overwhelmed me and just said, yeah, we can help. I know I really did feel led of the Lord after seeing the house and meeting the boys, or meeting one of the boys anyway. And we just decided we would try to raise the money. We got estimates very quickly that the roof itself, which was the main thing, listen, you can do anything over time in a house so long as it's dry, right? If it's leaking water, don't do a thing in it because it's going to get ruined, right? So mold was inside and all that. So the roof was going to be $7,000 to $7,500 to rip the roof completely off, reframe it. As you see here, that's brand new framing, and that's the old framing there. Here's more of the new framing. So we were able to raise very quickly about $8,000. So after we got home, John and I got home, we started to share the vision. And Plator said to the contractor, get going on this right away. So the roof got done quick. And by the time we got there, and here's some more pictures of the roof now done, the new roof. And that, by the way, that building, the brick there, that's the bathroom. That's an addition that was added on so that they could have an interior bathroom. But it needed a lot more than just that. It needed the mold fixed. It needed the chimney fixed, which you'll see in a second. It needed the sheetrock that was soaking wet fixed. The building wasn't insulated. What they do with cinder blocks over there is they put styrofoam on the outside of the building and then they stucco it. So you're going to see some pictures in a few minutes. This is, again, after the roof was fixed in the front of the house. Here's the chimney I mentioned. And we were so excited to come back and look and see what they had done. And so I'm going to give you, here's a couple views of the outside of the building, all fixed. Look at the patio, that patio out front. That was not part of what we bargained for. We were not talking about doing a patio. They also, you might notice in the foreground here, a fence. They cleared the lot of most of the debris and put a fence up so the kids could have a safe place to play when they move back in. Here's another picture of the backyard. Notice the debris is gone. See the big clear area there? And we're just all walking around amazed. And I don't have any pictures
And
of
in that little corner, that little cinder block wall, there's a pump going there for the fresh water in
to
the
bring
house.
water into the house. Yep. So there's, and you can see the window there. The brick is now stuccoed in. That brick bump out is all stuccoed in. So it is a night and day difference. They went over and above. We altogether, I think we sent somewhere around $12,000 over to work on the house. All brand new tile in the bathroom. They have to mount the sink. They have to set the toilet. They have to hook up the wood burning stove to the flue.
Doors.
Interior doors, thank you, need to be done. The biggest thing right now is that they can't turn the electric on because it was in the father's name who died. The father never paid the electric bill, didn't have any money. The mom died first, I think, then within 2 years the father died, and that's why these boys pretty much were getting broken up as a family. So they're going to change it from the father's name over to the oldest son Mario's name, and then the debt will be wiped out. He'll need $250 to start up the electric again. And at that, they might even have it done by now, but then the boys and the family can all be back in there again. We were hoping that they would be living in there when we got back, but man, this happened so fast as it is. We were only there in March, so, and I have pictures in my phone. I didn't give them to Brian to put up here, but I have pictures of inside. You guys, it is awesome. So we're gonna switch from that to a little bit of the history. Go ahead.
1 second.
Go ahead.
Mario was there. We got to see Mario. The pictures aren't here for that. But Mario, he was so thankful, and he was walking around with a smile, ear to ear. And he was just like, he was treating us like royalty. He was just so thankful for what this church is doing. Yeah.
He was actually shaking because he realizes that we're the ones that raised the money to do this. It was like, Mario is what, 18, 19?
18, I think, yeah.
This was an impossibility. There was no chance of any of this happening. And then we showed up at a restaurant walking distance from this house one day to eat lunch, John Buckta and I with Plator. And we're talking for literally a half an hour. Where do you guys want to eat lunch? Plator does not make decisions well. Doesn't make decisions well.
Whatever you want, John.
Where do you want to eat, John? Where do you want to eat? Where do you want to eat? I'm like, Plator, I'm in Albania, okay? I have no idea where to eat. You're going to have to decide. So he goes, well, there's this guy that owns this restaurant in Sovian. I'm hoping we can get him saved. And I think we should go eat there. Maybe you can meet him and we can talk to him. Okay, that's fine. So we go to Sovian, and we had this guy is so excited to meet John and I. He makes his best, most famous meal with his own chickens that he killed on his own farm. And he has a vineyard. He gave John and I bottles of wine that we left in Albania and gave him away. But the guy was so excited to meet us. And then that's when he asked us, hey, do you think you guys can help with this at all? And that's how the whole thing happened. And so we've got to go back to the restaurant. We had a whole bunch of people around a big table. This guy got to make us all kinds of food again. So again, the witness continues. The witness continues, and the love that we have for the family.
And I actually went there the next day with Plator for lunch, and Mario was working there, and he's like, "Hi." It was really neat, you know.
Yeah.
He is so thankful for what you guys are doing.
Yeah, we're really having a major effect, and that's just one thing. that we've done over there. I got to tell you, I was sitting doing some basic math, which I know you don't believe right now, but just trust me. And I was trying to think, in the past 2 or 3 years, how much money has this church, our little church, sent over there? It's got to be $80,000 to $100,000 that we have sent to Albania, and
The 8th largest town in Albania. Yeah.
it's
And it's
mind-boggling.
going to good, godly use.
Every dime, every dollar
Yeah.
is going to ministry, and it's being spent well. So the history of Albania is fascinating because, as I mentioned earlier, it was once called Illyricum. The Apostle Paul traveled there, and one of the places we got to take the team to see, John and I have been there in the past, is part of the original Ignacio Road. The Ignacio Road is a famous road that the Romans built, connecting the Middle East and parts of the Near East with Rome, with Italy, and it went through a lot of Albania. I've gotten to see 3 different bridges that are still standing that the Romans built that were part of the Ignacio Road, and I got to show these guys 2 of them. One of them we took pictures of, and so here's some of the pictures of, and this is up in Vaškapoja. Vaškapoja is a famous city because during the Turkish invasion, I got some more pictures here. During the Turkish invasion, Vaškapoja refused to surrender and refused to convert to Islam. And so eventually everyone in the entire town was slaughtered because of their faith. And that's where this is. There's a monastery, if you continue up this road, at the very top of the hill, there's a monastery, 12th century monastery that still exists, and you can go in and look today. Here's some crazy people.
So when you approach this bridge, you see 2 bridges. There's this bridge and the bridge you actually are supposed to cross.
Drive over. Yeah.
Drive over. This looks like the bridge you should be traveling across, not the one we were on.
The other one was planks, wooden planks that were laying loose and blah, 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 blah. And you could see through, and we're just driving right across. And
They definitely don't make them like they used to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But they're keeping these bridges going. At the monastery at the top of the hill, which is there's a look at it, the outside. It's not the actual chapel, which is on the other side of that building, but there's a sign hanging on the wall as you approach, and here's that sign. And this is a prayer. It's literally the accepting the Lord prayer. It's the prayer of salvation. So Plator always translates it for everyone he brings there, and he certainly did that for us as well. We're moving on to some of the children now, and I think some of these are still back in Libanique again. This is in Sovian, actually. No, this is in Libanique, but it's the day center. This is the day center. So this is a house that they rent, and what they do is they bring them in waves. I think there's 3 groups of kids that come in different times a day, and they'll help them with their homework. They'll make sure they're going to school. Some of these kids, the only meal they get all day long is the meal that they eat at the resident or at the day center. So it's really, and then their own. These were street kids. Yeah. Because of Plator's church, there's no more street kids in Malich. There's no more street kids in Libanique. They're just not out in the streets. And instead, they're in school, and they have clothes and they have books. They take care of all that stuff.
You see the girl hiding her face. This happened a couple of times, and there's this other little girl, Vanessa. She's in one of the pictures, but I wanted to take her picture, and she wouldn't let me take her picture. And I'm like, please, let me take your picture, and she wouldn't let it. And the reason why they're covering their face, I found out later, was because they're afraid they're going to get kidnapped.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of the pictures, even one of the kids in the day center, same thing. It took building trust for them to take a picture by themselves.
I wanted to take a
A
picture
lot in
of one
groups,
girl
but not by themselves.
and had to say, I said to a translator, I just want to take a picture so I can show my daughters. And when she translated it, the girl said, "Oh, okay, I'll let you take the picture for that." But they're afraid of getting kidnapped.
Yeah. This is in Libanique. It's the kids ministry.
The guy and the kid in the kid in the blue shorts and white shirt with his hand up. That's Aldo. That's the
Aldo.
one.
That's Aldo. That's the one who saw his
6 years
parents,
old.
his mom slaughtered.
Yeah.
And then
And he's,
that's right behind
you
him.
wouldn't know to look at him that he's this happy little boy.
Yeah.
These kids are
Actually-
doing great. They really are.
Yeah, I got some more pictures than that.
They're
Though.
doing phenomenal.
Get to it that
They're
one.
beautiful.
There's the one. So, Aldo, this is the one that's going to get me started. So, heads up. Aldo and I became pretty close over the trip, and just being able to spend some time together. He couldn't understand a word of what I said. I had no idea what he was saying, but
The language of love.
the language of love and
Really was.
the equal educational mental footing helped that out a lot. Any kid, you cross your eyes a few times and make some funny noises, they're gonna laugh and become close to you. But we're sitting at lunch the last day we got to see them, and Aldo comes down with 2 cars in his hand. One's like a knockoff version of Lightning McQueen, and the other one is a school bus. And Rezi translates to me that he wants to give one of these to Harrison. And he sleeps with these at night.
You don't understand how big of a deal this is for this kid to give something up that means that much to him.
He's-
He's never done that.
Rezi said he has never given anything to anybody he's never seen before. So this was a very monumental moment for him. And it was the sign that he actually trusted somebody. So that was, I had sent...
And he was adamant about it.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, Harrison's got like 80 cars. Like, he's really, it'll be good. He goes, no, he's like basically telling me, 6 years old, you're taking it. I'm like,
If you
okay.
read English, he was like, please, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So I recorded a video of Harrison playing with it, saying thank you to Aldo, and that's the picture I got back from that. So, all the bad that there is that comes with technology, this is the good that can come of technology also.
This is a cute little story too.
Yeah. This was that same day. We went to a place we all had gone for lunch for quite some time. Took the kids there, and they have a playground. A lot of the family restaurants in Albania, whether it be in Korça, in the larger city, in the downtown, or some of the more outskirts, all have full playgrounds in their family restaurants. A lot of them, they're right at the entrance. So it's huge playgrounds, and then, oh yeah, by the way, here's this nice place you can go eat. So it's a little strange to see, but there's a playground at the back of this restaurant, so they were playing while food was getting prepared for us to go back and eat. So while we were sitting and waiting, I had them do the three wise monkeys. But there's four of them, so we had to figure out what the fourth one was going to do. So we have see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, and know no evil. So, and for what these four of the 5 boys there that have gone through, it's actually interesting.
Is Thomas, the one
Yes.
who was chained up.
Who's chained up.
Yeah.
That's Thomas.
So Alti is on the left, and is it Ari or Avi? I think it's Avi.
Avi.
Avi, who him and his brother are there. His brother's 15, which you may see Sammy in a picture.
I think it was Aldo whose mother came for a visit.
Thomas.
No.
Was it
Thomas would have come for a visit.
Thomas?
Yeah.
Okay, so the mother came for a visit and started telling them, these people don't really love you. They're just going to turn you back in the street again when you're too old and you'll be all alone again. These people don't really love you. And so he started telling the other boys that, and they all started to get really scared. And
Sammy, who's 15,
Yeah.
became a very direct concern for him.
right, he's not in that picture, but what happened is they were all, the mood in the house changed, and Rezi picked up on it quite quickly. Nothing gets past Rezi, but yeah. So she started to question them and found out what was going on, and Plator came to them and said, you boys, you're never going anywhere. You're like my children. You don't have to worry about it. And they believed him, and it's been a big deal for them to really hear them. And I think, for us, as far as JSCC is concerned and how these kids and the team, the ministry team looks at us, we're different than any other missions team that's ever come through there because we keep coming back. And that's what they keep saying is they treat us differently. I'm telling you, you guys don't know the difference. But, you know, when we were there the first and second time, they were very kind, very polite with smiles. But it's completely different now. We're one of them now. It's like they know that not only are we committed to them, but we don't see ourselves as being any different than them. They believe that now because of the way we act when we're around them and the way that we treat them.
There was actually a picture that Kyle put on Facebook with Pastor John and the dog, and
I did that just to embarrass him.
and he would say, "This is my pastor." And I saw today that one of the people there actually tagged it and said, "He's our pastor too."
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
That was Ada, right?
Yeah.
I
didn't see
deleted
that.
it before you saw it.
Well, thank you. So,
Yeah, so just to pile on that a little bit, there has been one church that has done extended mission trips to them since the pandemic. Us. No one else. A couple days here and there, sure, but there's only one church that has done extended mission trips there.
It appears they aren't mask obsessed like we are over here.
no,
Oh,
they-
none at all.
no,
As a matter of fact, they don't even want the vaccine either.
yeah.
What was the flight like on whatever you did during the mask the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable.
We should talk about fun things, not that.
Yes, thank you.
So, what are we looking at here?
Well, I'm glad they're not obsessed with masks.
Is that
So,
your picture?
so this is the
This-
this is one of
this-
Bob's. Yeah, this is the
Finger?
Bob likes to be in all of the pictures he takes.
Right.
Finger.
I didn't
So he's
take
got his
the
finger
picture.
in the bottom left there.
No,
But
Bob is in that.
oh, Bob is in the
I'm in that
picture.
picture.
I don't know whose finger. No, I didn't take that one.
I
That
didn't
was
either.
that is that might be Dita actually.
Somebody
Actually, one of the kids took the picture.
Oh,
They kept grabbing my phone and wanting
Yeah.
to take pictures.
So this is a large amount of the kids from the day center, and this is the side yard at the day center. So the side yard next to the house is how long would you say, Bob?
Probably 20 feet.
Well, it might be
wide,
No.
20 feet wide,
20
about
feet
40
wide.
feet long, 35, 40 feet long.
Long enough to play bases,
Yeah,
bosses.
so bosses. It's all dirt with brick exposed on all sides, concrete exposed
Chunks
on all
of
sides,
rock.
chunks of rock all over the place. A lot of these kids don't have sneakers, so they're playing soccer and other types of games, some games that we taught them in flip-flops on this type of surface. And there's a giant, square of concrete in the middle of it sitting that they're just
Running over.
happily to navigate and play their hearts out.
Because they finally have found a place where they can play
Yes.
and have fun, and they're allowed to play. They love playing with all these guys, and they actually, this isn't Bob, this is Bobby.
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 Bobby! And we'd come pulling up, and they'd come running to the car, Bobby!
Couple of things in this picture. That girl in the middle, that's Vanessa. That's the girl that wouldn't let me take her picture because she was afraid of being kidnapped. And I really wanted to get a picture of her eyes because she's got like these.
And those are Bob's sunglasses.
Yeah. All the kids wanted to wear my glasses, so there's a bunch of pictures that aren't here that they actually got.
It was Vanessa's birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
So I got a picture from Eriola, who's the person in charge of the day center of her birthday cake. They do a birthday cake for these kids because who knows what they're getting at
Can you
home
go back to
because
that big
it's on
one?
their birthday. So,
Which one?
Yeah.
so
The little girl sitting in the front,
Sarah.
that's one of the two Sarahs. That little girl, her teeth she's not going to have any teeth probably in about a year. Half of her teeth are all rotted out. But then we found out, we were all sitting, and we found, Pastor Platori was telling us that they're doing an investigation on her family because she's being abused by an uncle. These kids have it rough.
There she is. Yeah.
There she is. You can't see her, the lip is covering it, but
She looks like Terry Jr.
She was a little love. I mean, from the minute you walked through the gate, she was like clung to my legs. See her teeth? Yeah.
yeah.
But she does have a sad story.
Yeah, and her lip is actually covering what she looks like she's got good teeth there, but and a lot of the kids were like this with Terry.
Yeah.
They were all, you know, we look at Terry and we go, these kids go,
Thanks, Bobby.
these kids were loving on Terry.
Oh yeah.
And you see Terry smile here, there she was like ear to ear. When the kids were coming around,
She did a lot of that too.
those smiles were ear to ear. Yeah, you get a lot of that, but she was smiling ear to ear. Even her sunglasses were lifting up.
He's exaggerating. Trust me.
So when you take Terry out from behind the counter, she can't hide behind the counter anymore. She opens up. So in Sauvian, which is one of the neighboring villages where they've been doing ministry for a while, they acquired a piece of property, and the Moody Bible Church in Chicago is funding the construction of a new church building there. It won't quite be the size of Lebonique, but it should be able to be a church of somewhere around 150 or so people when it's done. And we got some pictures. I had originally seen it. John and I saw it when it was just a house. The property was overgrown. The roof was caving in. And we were like, this is a teardown. And now they've torn it down, and they've actually got a slab poured, piers poured and built, or piers built, not poured. And that's going to be, you can see we're standing in the sanctuary right there. What's going to be the sanctuary. And this front area is going to be bathrooms on either side, and the corners and the entrance is where you see those steel rods sticking down and through where the steps will be. So that is the future church there in Sauvian, which is a great thing, and Moody's paying for all of it, so that's really a great deal.
One of the interesting things, a little side note about the only security camera that there is on any of these properties is there at the
Building site.
Because they're the cities they're in, they're so respected about the work that they're doing that none of the churches need security cameras. The only one that has a security camera is in case somebody steals construction material from the site.
Right.
That's
And the
it.
way they lock up that site is with a piece of wire going through a piece of cloth.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is more pictures of the day center.
So this is
The house
outside
that
the
they
gate when we come up, kids running up to the.
I think when we came back the second day, they were all, couldn't understand what they were saying, of course, you know, they're hollering. They're all loud hollering, and they said that they came back. And they were so excited that we had come back again to play with them.
So so all 35 of them or so that there can be at a time eat at this 2 couches and 3 long tables, and they can't all fit at the same time. So it's that one empty space, and I think the plan for the back of the church in Libonique to be cleared out and some additional expansions happening there in order to be able to get the kids from the day center onto the church property will be an amazing thing when it happens.
Because this isn't owned by the church, they rent.
They lease this, yeah.
Lease this, so they want to make the property in the back of the church to replace the day center for the children.
Yep.
The toilet works with a rope from inside.
It works.
It works.
This is the Molich Church.
Yep.
And it's predominantly a women church. So there's one, maybe 2 guys that'll show up there for services, because the men are still just uncertain, about the whole thing. They respect Plator, but the wives go. And this place, they're going to build out behind it. This is the staircase that we paid for to be built. It's a steel staircase, because the upstairs of the Molich Church will eventually be a place where visiting missionaries can stay. They'll have, I think, 5 guest rooms up there, but they needed to get the staircase built so that they can start construction up in those upper floors. There was no way to access them. This is a building that was built during the Russian occupation era for higher-ups in Russian military, and it's been run down. But they'll get that upstairs done quite quick, and it'll be a great way to to change things up there. I don't know what this picture is
And
here.
a lot of the women that are there work the fields.
Broken
That's
chair.
what they do for a living. They work out in the fields.
Bob, did you send that picture?
I took that picture.
Okay.
That's in the
Explain.
that's in the boys' home.
Okay.
That's in the kitchen.
The broken chair.
The broken chair. They feel like they're
Well,
kings
that was
sitting on
the
that.
chair that I sat in for lunch.
And I think
This is in
Sylvian.
Sauvion. This is Marissa Amedier for all these mission trips makes wristbands, the loom plastic style wristbands, and these are the kids. Bracelets. So they did this in each one of the churches. I was able to get a video of one of them. So just something a little small like that is like amazing.
Yeah.
It's fun. When they have the children together every day, and they sing, they worship, and it's very interactive.
Yeah.
And they hand gestures and motions and turn around, like Father Abraham. They did, and you'd hear it in Albanian. We're singing it in English, and we're doing everything with them. They also have a memory verse that they do, and there was pictures in the beginning where, let's see, which one was it? This one. What she's doing, they're reciting the verses to her, and in the basket is treats. So if they can say the whole verse,
There's Bessa.
they got treats, and it was just awesome. They were so good and so smart and so attentive. Even the little ones with a little coaching to get them to say the verse. Little 4 or 5 year olds.
Yeah.
And they're really, that's when the bracelets, she was giving out the bracelets.
So
Children.
they have a interesting way of dealing with kids getting out of hand. So for those who watch soccer, I'm sure you're familiar with yellow card and red card. They do a yellow card and red card when bad things happen. So a warning's a yellow card. The yellow card comes out, but you don't know who it's for, who's sitting there. They keep it anonymous. But the people, the helpers, know who it is. And then if they get the red card, the kid's brought out of the class without anybody else watching who it is. So it's kept anonymous. So it's really, it doesn't say, oh, this kid was, this kid did this. But it's that's not the only thing soccer related that's in fact. The first words that I heard in English from them were while we were playing soccer at the day center. And I think they watched a little too much on TV because they were all begging for fouls not to be called for things, as well as faking injuries and the whole deal. I got a lot of, trying to figure out which side, what team is supposed to get the ball at the time. I got a lot of, no, my friend, please, it's right here, my friend, please. So that pretty much all the English I got was because they're trying to convince me that a ball belongs on their side in soccer. So that was
Kids are kids.
that's pretty
no matter
funny.
where you
Yeah.
go.
So, but yeah, the one thing I could say, I know we don't have a lot of pictures of the team there. I think all of us said this at some point in the trip. If they had the resources we had, and if we had the heart for the Lord in ministry that they have, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Because, I can't deal with Harrison 5 days a week, let alone everyone. All the kids 5 days a week. Jessie knows this isn't a surprise for her. That's why I go to work.
It's not a surprise for us either,
No,
Kyle.
that's
Just
right.
saying.
So,
Let me tell you where Harrison gets it from, okay? Because this guy was a lunatic with the children. I mean, he fell right in with them.
It's
It
why
was-
we brought him.
It was awesome. It really was awesome.
but it's not hard with them because you say, I'm going to teach you a game. You got 40 kids coming up and giving you a hug because you're going to teach them a game. It's like, you don't even know what the game is yet. You don't even if you like it. I say here, I'm going to teach you guys a game. I get 50 50 people rolling their eyes, not 50 people giving me a hug. So it's like, whoa,
true.
that's pretty awesome. And then they have their own version of Simon Says. It's Nico Says, or something like that. So I was the one giving the instruction for this, and of course there had to be. Nico says, give Terry a hug. So there were 40 kids running out of their seats to Terry to give them a hug.
I'm sitting there watching him interact with the children, teaching them, and all of a sudden I'm like, they all come like a stampede at me. That nearly knocked me out of the chair. It was just, they were so
but it was like, and I did the same thing with Bob. Like, Bob didn't know what was going on. He walked in the door, and I said, Nico says, give Bob a hug, and they translated in Albanian. And you see 50 kids running at Bob as soon as he comes in the door. Like, what's going on?
Bobby.
But even like just their interaction, like we do that here. Like 2 kids will like sit around and roll their eyes, like whatever, right? This is all of them going all at once in a wave. So just their enthusiasm. And Pastor said this before we went about how much of a blessing it'll be that we're just there. Like, great. So what are we going to do while we're there? But no, it is. I understand it. I get it, that it's a blessing that we're there. And anything we do is over top, because I saw the reaction to us even just being there.
And I want to end with this.
Wait, I got something I want to share.
Bob wants to say something before I end with this.
Bobby.
With all of that's going on with these kids and with the youth, we didn't show you a lot of the workers. There are a lot of videos of the youth workers.
And the worship, yeah.
The worship team, which is really good. But in the midst of it all, there was some stuff going on that was crazy ministry things going on. And I know you all love this guy. I know you all love this pastor.
So let me end with this.
In the midst of it, your pastor, my pastor, you would have been, we got to see a side of John that we don't get to see here a lot. And some of you guys do get to see it. But we got to see him be a pastor to a pastor, to help a pastor when he was looking for input. And I was really impressed. I remember when we were going through Galatians, and I was looking through chapter 2, and I was thinking of, Paul getting on Peter's case, for what was going on, and rebuking him, but it was with a pastor's heart. And I saw him being a Paul to another pastor, not in rebuke, but in a tenderness and a kindness, and helping him and giving him direction on some things that he needs. Pastor Plator is a good pastor, and he's a man who loves God, but he had some things going on. And our pastor was there ministering to him and encouraging him and really standing with him. And he was being in a living epistle. It was like opening up an epistle, one of the epistles, and reading it. Our pastor, man, is an awesome pastor.
Amen.
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 I'm gonna pile on to make him feel even more awkward real quick. So I think the 3 of us, by the time we got off the flight at Newark, were absolutely exhausted and done. And I'm looking at my Uber app, because I had to go get my car at my office, and I'm seeing the price go up on Uber, and I'm just freaking out, like, Terry, where's your bag? My price is going up, just going crazy. So here I am staring at that, and
Last bag out.
here's the thing that came to mind: never tire of doing good works. And whether or not he noticed it, there was somebody through all that exhaustion that was taking bags off of the top of the carry-on area on the plane and pulling them down for other people around him. There was somebody collecting bins from off of the baggage claim and putting them in a nice, neat area. I don't need to tell you who it was, because it wasn't me or Bob. So I saw the living proof of never tiring of good works.
All right, that's enough of that. So
So you want to end with?
you guys, no, you guys mentioned the name Nico. So one of the things that we were blessed with on one of our early trips going over there, we had heard the story. One of the things that really drew me into Albania, being over there, was the story of the 5 men who kept Christianity alive in the city of Korcha during communism, when it was illegal to worship any god. If you got caught practicing any religion at all, you were either 25-year sentence, non-commutable, or you were executed, and that's it. That's how harsh it was under communism in Albania. So there were 5 families in the city of Korcha, that the only 5 families that were practicing Christianity underground in a hidden way in the entire country during the 50 years of communism. One of those men was a man named Nico, who passed away. I met him on my first trip over there. Plator took me to their house. Nico was there. And I went to another house of one of the other families. And in both these families, in both the rooms I sat in and met these families, these were the rooms where they would have secret prayer meetings, secret Bible studies, secret worship times where they would sing songs, and they'd have to be careful. And everything they did had to be careful. This particular house, we went back to Nico's house. I got to bring these guys to meet Nico's wife. Amen. And she told us stories about what it was like. And I go into this different mode where I'm an interviewer all of a sudden, because there's things I want to know about what it's like to practice Christianity when you could die because of it, you know. And the lady's just amazing. You know, I think I said to her, I said, "What's your favorite Bible verse? What advice would you give us, knowing what's going on in America?" Were her answers anything short of profound?
Nope.
No.
They were unbelievable. And this is
simple and
They were
profound.
deep.
simple and profound and just amazing. And you know, we were able to look her in the eyes, because the church in Korcha has sort of shunned her family now. It's all about them, the church in Korcha. Well, I'm not talking about Plator, I'm talking about the big church in Korcha. And there's a whole lot going on with that side of things. Bob made mention of problems going on behind the scenes. God is moving in a big way.
Yep.
And we were there at that time so that I could be there for Plator to help him with those very difficult things. So we saw God move in a major way. But to be able to go to Nico's house, though, with these guys, and for us to be able to say to them, your family is being spoken of in America by us. Your family has done something that is so amazing. Their reputation has gone across the world now. Your family is making a difference in our lives and in our church.
And she pulled out
in
that New
America.
Testament.
And the new, yeah.
So they only had, for 50 years, they only had one Bible that all 5 families shared. They had to hide it in a well underneath a house. So they let us all hold it and look at it. It was a New Testament that they had rebound because the cover had been, long since deteriorated. So it was just one of the things we got to do, was to look at this New Testament Bible that was the only Bible known in the whole area, because they went into every church, they seized every Bible, they went into everybody's houses, took every religious material out, they burned it all. Churches were turned into libraries or storage buildings for the government, and that was it.
She also said that when the communists fell and they were free to do, instantly their first thing they went is door to door with the gospel.
Actually, they were the first couple. Nico and his wife were the first couple to set foot in that church for a prayer meeting. They opened the doors of the church and they went in and had a prayer meeting. And then they went door to door. They helped plant another church. They went door to door inviting people to come to the Korcha church. So they started to rebuild Christianity in Korcha. And the reason why Plator is a Christian today is because of people like them who were sharing the gospel. Other people got saved and discipled and then shared the gospel with Plator. Plator got saved, and his faith is because of those people. So it's like we're part of a story. God's allowing us to be part of a story in a place, in a part of the world that is the stuff of legend. Books are written about things like this, and we kind of have our own little place where we're participating in that work. I just love that we can touch history like that. It's the same feeling I got when I had the opportunity to preach in the Adam Clark Memorial Methodist Church in Portrush, Ireland. One of my heroes of the faith was Adam Clark. He got raised up by the Wesley brothers, and he was discipled and put in a pulpit in London, but when he retired, he bought 7 pieces of property in Northern Ireland. He's written a commentary on the whole Bible, by the way. Adam Clark commentary is fascinating. But this is one of the churches that he planted and built. So I got to connect with something that is really important in Christian history, and that's how I feel with these people in Albania. And it's funny because I had Tom. I had coffee with Cliff Whitehead the other day. We were talking about, because I had just gotten back, we were talking about Armenia too. It's another thing I felt really connected to, was the history of Christianity in Armenia, the first country in the world to become a Christian nation. Fascinating place as well. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming out. And does anybody have any questions before we close in prayer? Any questions about it? Yeah, Ed.
What were your nicknames?
I didn't have one really. You know, they
Pastor
did.
Jean.
Pastor
Yeah.
John. Yeah.
Just
So
Kyle
Jay's kind of a almost like a Y sound, but it's got a little bit of a zhuzh to it. So yeah.
It's GJ.
Yeah. Johnny. That's what they call me,
That's
Johnny.
it.
Johnny.
Johnny.
Pastor Johnny.
And what led to the fall of communism in Albania? Was it death of Edward Hogan? They continued after the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So he died in '89.
Oh, okay.
And the guy who was his right-hand man took over but couldn't keep it together, and it was already failing. It was so, the guy you just mentioned, the supreme dictator of Albania, he bankrupted the country building, and these guys got to see some of them, building bunkers out of concrete. If you're driving down the road, you'll look up on the hills, and they didn't get to see the places where there's a lot of them, but sometimes there's 50, 60, 100 of them up on a hill. They're bunkers that can hold, usually the size of most of them is about 1 to 2 people, with a little window inside so you can stick a gun out. He convinced the people of Albania that they were the greatest country in the world. Every other country in the world wanted to be them, and America was going to invade them. And because America was going to invade, he bankrupted the country, building these all over the country on the sides of the mountains.
They look like little igloo kind of.
They look like mushrooms, giant mushrooms growing up out of the ground.
Like an igloo.
Yeah, like a round top.
Yeah, there's over like 50,000 of them, right?
It's
Throughout
ridiculous
the
how many there
1,100
are.
miles of
And so the
Albania.
country fell apart. They were so there was so strict a form of communism at the time. They disassociated from Russia and China because they said Russia and China are too liberal, so we're not going to be. Yeah. The official religion of Albania was atheism. Yeah, the only country ever to do that. Yeah. Anybody else? I mean, for us to be able to work over there is just a privilege. It really is.
One thing you said at the prayer at the end when we were leaving was that there is a supernatural connection between our church and their church. And no doubt. There's no better explanation of it than that.
God did something. That's all.
Yep.
God connected us. It's just it's fascinating. It really is. So I hope more people get to come in another time. We did a conference over there. We didn't set out to do a conference. We set out to take his leadership to a hotel. Everything is so cheap over there. I could bring 6 people out to dinner for $35, $40. And I'm talking full on dinner, like big time, top notch restaurant there, $35, $45, So it's
Even where we stayed.
yeah, we stayed in a 4-star hotel at the place called the Bazaar, which is a beautiful place. I think we were paying $59, $60 a night for these rooms.
With continental breakfast.
With breakfast. No, it was more than
That
that.
was not continental.
No.
Wait, no, they considered it their
Fresh
continental
eggs,
breakfast.
We had
fresh yogurt,
Yeah.
everything was fresh.
Everything handmade, fresh village bread. Everything over there is fresh. There's no junk food there. It's like
Yeah, there's no McDonald's or anything.
nothing. No junk
Taco
food.
Bell.
Yeah, Latour's going to build the first Taco Bell.
Latour's upset that there's no Taco Bell.
So he said, when you come
So
to
when he
America,
comes
what
here,
food are you looking forward
take him to
to?
Taco Bell because
Taco
that's
Bell.
where he wants to go.
Yeah.
And just know that when you guys do go, because because I'm sure there's a few
Oh, yeah,
of you in
you're
the
going.
audience that
Sorry.
will go next time.
You're going.
I personally felt like I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do. But you know, your testimony of how the Lord saved you, who He is in your life, means more to them than anything. I had the privilege of speaking to 3 times my testimony, and each time, of course, it came out a little different because it always depends on who's listening. And I got feedback a little later. Plator told me I had made such an impact, and even one of the young, we had a circle one day with Kyle and the youth group, the youth leaders, and they were like, we never heard anything like that, because as most of you know, I have a pretty checkered past, and to have Gano interpret for me, it was, I didn't want to embarrass him, because, you know, for him to say some of the things that I've been through, but he was fine with it. He says, no, go ahead, you tell it, I'll tell it. And the women were really, and this was a women's Bible study, it made an impact. So your life in Christ, before and after, makes more of an impact than you really know. So don't be like me thinking you did nothing. You're doing something just by being there.
Amen.
It's true. Anybody else have anything? Yeah. Joe.
Was the man who shot his wife and son, did the authorities deal with him, or was it at least get away with things?
No, as far as I know, he got put in prison.
Yeah, so a term we coined is never say never in Albania,
Right.
for certain things. But no, that guy's in jail and has no ability to see Aldo, from my knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Aldo once said, after that whole situation, Aldo said to Plator, no, he said he defended himself against someone who said he didn't have a father. He said, I do have a father. Plator is my father.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the other thing is he asked Rezi one of the days before he got there, does everybody not have a mother?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, there's hard stories all over the world,
Yeah.
but what a privilege that we have, you know. And any one of you that prayed or made a donation, you need to know how it's being spent and what's going on over there. So we one of the things that we've made sure to do over the past 3 years was encourage Michael and Plator to establish a foundation separate from the other churches' foundations. You can't have a church over there unless it's under a foundation. And so the other church that we were having to work through initially or originally was taking a percentage of our donations as, you know, like just fees. I don't know how much it was, I forget. But sometimes it was hard just to get money to Plator, and we never knew how much he would get or when he would get it. Sometimes it would take a month or two. So we got frustrated, and I put pressure on them, you know, 3.5 years ago, and said, guys, you need your own foundation so that every dime can be accounted for. And it's up and running, and we've been donating through that foundation now for about a year. And I wish I could tell you the rest of the story because it's profound, what's going on over there right now. But because this is live on the internet, I won't. Anyone who wants to hear it, take me out for a cup of coffee, and I'll be happy to tell you the whole story.
I still can't figure out if everybody in Albania really likes coffee or everybody in Albania knows that John really likes coffee, so that's what we do. I'm still confused a bit between the two. But
There are outside cafes
Everywhere.
everywhere. It's so beautiful, and the weather was perfect. And
Yeah.
not a drop of rain the whole time we were there.
And so, and just to, sorry, I can talk about this the rest of the night, just because I've always asked the Lord to make, because as I said in my testimony there, I'm dumb, so I need the Lord to absolutely make it abundantly clear about what He wants me to do, and I've been praying for that to happen. And Albania made it abundantly clear that those kids, that's part of what my ministry is supposed to be. But to give you an idea how far the money goes there, not just on food. While I was there, I was able to buy the kids 4 new soccer for the day center, 4 new soccer balls, 20 notebooks,